Welcome back, everybody, to Ep.7 of our campaign, The Undying Sky. We are elsewhere and beyond, and we are running this game using Symbaroum by Free League Publishing. Now, last time you caught us, it was quite a definitive end for two of our characters. Now, we've had a little get-together, we've sat down and we've had some discussions about what characters we'd like to bring into the story, and we've also talked about which ones probably should stay. Being defeated in battle doesn't always have to mean a death. Kimberley has decided to re-roll a new character, Rihanna, who you will all get to know and meet very soon. On the other hand, Raz has decided to keep Trig in play, and I'm giving the character one last hurrah. But, unknown to Raz, something is not the same anymore, and we will see in future sessions how that plays out. So, let us return now to the Undying Sky and pick up with Lysander as he is running from the aftermath and from his fallen friends in battle. In the rain, at night, Lysander, you are fleeing haphazardly through the streets. Your hair is streaking down over your eyes. You're tearing off down through the alleyways, and it's just blind instinct taking you towards the center, towards the only place that's really giving off light.
Yeah, I mean, there's one place he knows he'll be fairly safe, so he's gonna head straight for the church. Head up there, bang on the door.
There is a rustling of movement inside. The door opens. The older fellow, the bodyguard of Father Agatar, the general handyman, opens it, his deep look in his eyes. What? What is it?
Lysander probably looks pretty terrified, and he'll just try and push inside.
In the middle of the church, beneath the rafters, you see Master Selena and Bartolom speaking with Father Agatar. Beside Father Agatar, between them is a new figure. Somebody that you haven't seen before, somebody that's clearly arrived a little later. There is a hushed discussion of details being shared. A book is open. This new figure has a book open, and they're making notes in their journal. Kimberley, would you like to introduce us to how this woman looks?
Yes, I would. So you see a sort of average, quite pale human woman standing there. She's quite, I wouldn't say gaunt, but she's a little slim. She has these round spectacles on her face and has long, sort of almost messy black hair, blue eyes, and she stood there in a robe, in a very classic sort of Ordo Magica robe.
Hers fits her a bit better than Bartolom's, we'll say that.
Absolutely. She definitely looks bookish. She doesn't look like she's definitely not a mercenary, not a soldier, not a...
Not someone who's ready to take out the abomination.
It's clearly a nerd.
Clearly a nerd.
She's one of us. One of us! All right.
The only kindred spirit in this whole story.
Someone we can finally relate to. All the heads in the room snap to Lysander, soaking as the water just rolls off of him and splatters across the floor.
He's gonna just sit down on like a pew and just like stare blankly ahead.
Well, Selena comes over, striding towards you in your direction. She places a hand on the side of the pew and kneels slightly to get an eye level with you. What has happened? What is going on?
Lysander's clearly very out of it. There was, at the inn, the old lady.
Rihanna, Bartolom. She calls back towards the altar. Come over here a moment.
Rihanna scurries over, pulling her robes up a bit.
Bartolom comes to stand next to you, not quite like the Shining Twins. You know, you're not exactly holding hands and singing, but he stands right next to you, and the pair of you look quite official for the Ordo Magica. He's got blood on him.
What happened?
The old woman, she was a cultist. The monster came in.
The abomination, you mean?
Yes.
Well, what did it look like?
an abomination.
Did it have multiple fingers?
Was it tall? Was it big, heavy, or how many arms did it have?
True.
Right.
It was a big, creepy man with long tentacle fingers.
Rihanna, please, just a moment. You can make notes shortly.
Astrid died.
What? And there's just this hush that follows. I was a fool, says Master Selena. I should have been there. She was a confident woman. How do you know she's died?
I dealt with the old lady upstairs, and I came down, and she was laying there where it didn't look good. And me and Watcher was fighting the thing, and then it looked like Watcher was maybe having a bad time, and then the house was falling down, and I ran.
The inn fell down.
Having a bad time. Yeah, that's one word for it.
Well, I'm glad you ran. That sounds like it was a good decision.
Yeah.
Bartolom, would you fetch him some water? There's a knowing look at that moment. Bartolom leaves your side, Rihanna. We'll say the font. Why not? Bartolom gets you a drink of water from the holy font.
That's
Just grabbing a ladle and a
stagnant
glass.
water.
And of the inn now, it has fallen.
I mean, I didn't stop to check, but it was coming down. Meliora's still in there, so I have to get back in there and watch her.
Selena gives Rihanna a knowing look. And one without much hope.
I think we best wait until morning with that.
It kind of looked like Watcher was,
Use your big boy words.
he was the abomination was, he was turning him.
Rihanna, ask the questions.
Oh, so what did it look like, you said?
Creepy, slender, tall man with tentacle fingers.
And what did he do to the Watcher?
Don't know. Watcher started to crack and...
His limbs?
Yes.
Corruption.
Rihanna nods. Was it touching him?
They were fighting, so I guess so.
I see.
What of Astrid's protection? Last we spoke, she was setting up a ritual, or at least she had just set up the ritual. Did that have no effect?
No, the thing came in, but I don't know. I went upstairs. There was a creepy lady. The inn lady was doing a ritual. I killed her, and I went downstairs, and they were fighting, and Astrid was on the floor.
It's clear. Your friend was a charlatan. Her abilities in theurgy and the mystic art were clearly nothing but lies, says Agatar as he comes over, both hands resting in a very gentle pose before himself, clasped.
Surely we speak of the dead in respect.
Well, you would say so, but I have a mumbling fool of a fellow who's got a pierced chin and cannot speak. I dare say I think they are linked. She was nothing but a common thief.
Lysander's gonna get up, take a staff, and whack the guy in his face.
Oh,
Really? Oh, okay. Just go ahead and make me a flat check.
Direct
A
combat
flat.
immediately.
You slap him across the face with the staff. There's a loud whipping sound and a swish. The man tumbles down onto the ground, falling, trying to reach for anything to break his fall. Grentham comes running over, puts a hand on Agatar's shoulder, and then one up raised to you in defiance. Don't do something you'll regret.
I definitely didn't regret it.
Master Selena gets between you and she puts her hand out both to you and to the two men. Let's calm down. You should be more respectful. And please, can you put your weapon away?
It's just my walking stick. He's gonna sit back down.
There's that tension in the air. It permeates. Everyone's standing on edge. But it's not as tense as further away. Trig. There's a great weight on top of you, a great pressure as you feel the quite literal mass of a fallen inn all over you. It's hard to move. You can get some motion in your right arm. You can feel brick and timber shifting as you begin to move, but it's wet and it's dark.
Are my feet touching the ground?
Well, you're lying flat.
Can I get up?
Go ahead and make a strength test for me.
Strength test for you.
That is a success. That is a very good success for you. Take a few breaths.
Right.
One large one. And then you heave.
Finding his footing, he sort of digs through the rubble with his feet and he finds the earth. And just, he pulls himself through the rubble. There's this great shifting of bricks and mortar and planks as he just forces his way through this. And there's any onlooker would just see this pile just grow and suddenly just burst into this troll.
Illuminated by the moonlight, dashed in this deluge of rain, you burst out of the rubble, kind of like a siren bursting from the waves.
It's the Little Mermaid scene when she breaks the surface.
Yes! I love that. You breathe in the air. You feel the blood trickling down your face. You can already begin to feel your body regenerating. You have to help in places. I mean, pulling a 2x4 out of your stomach and ripping it free, watching as the wound slowly begins to seal.
You see, he sort of, he tries to stand to his feet, but there is that, like, that, as you say, the 2x4 in his belly, and he's like, ah! And he notices it first when he tries to move, and it stops him, and he rips it out.
Throw it away from you.
He's going to rummage for his hammer.
Don't need to look far. That is a huge weapon. And you eventually find it still standing upright, and you can actually see as a lot of the rubble and mortar has fallen around it.
Given what's just happened, he's absolutely going to try to arm himself first and foremost. He yanks that hammer out of the rubble, and he brandishes it, and he's looking for the abomination.
And as you do, you suddenly feel whips of tendrils wrapping around your wrist and suddenly pulling you forwards into the rubble. What you can best make out is the abomination is still under there. It's missing one arm. It's missing one of its legs. Its back is twisted, spine broken, and it seems to be dragging itself along in a prone condition. But it has you in its grasp. Its mouth opens far too wide to be naturally possible. Its eyes burning with malice.
That hammer is going in its mouth.
I would like you to make me an attack with advantage at a -2.
Just 2.
Please roll something under 17.
That would be good, yeah. Warhammer, let's go.
Ooh!
Let's fucking go, dude.
Let's go.
That is a success, and you roll 11 points of damage.
That's so juicy.
What's happening?
In response to being bound so and pulled towards the rubble, luckily he has his hammer in his hand. And there's just this sort of reflex as he sees the mouth open up. He hefts it and just rams it down the throat of this creature. And obviously, you said that it opened unnaturally wide. Is it big enough to take the hammer?
You know what? Yes, it is. The whole jaw unhinges. You know how a snake can unclasp its lower jaw and then make it go left and right? And it's that typical horror thing we see a lot in Dracula movies.
Yeah.
Just big old face. The hammer just cracks bone after bone. It disfigures the face. An eye pops out. The whole head just snaps. And now what you have is a dead abomination stuck and hanging limp off of your weighty hammer.
Oh.
Yeah.
If only I'd rolled that earlier.
Your hammer is now upgraded to legendary.
It's legendary.
Your quest is complete.
The troll sort of confirms that it's dead by just ramming the hammer further into this direction, just digging around just to crush this thing further. But he makes sure that it's not moving anymore. And once he's satisfied that it isn't, he spits on it.
And in that moment, as you do so, you feel a shiver move over your arms. It's not from the rain, it's not from the cold, it's not from the night. It's that sense of somebody watching you.
That's sort of when he realizes what just happened, and he turns around as if he's expecting to see someone.
Standing there, staring, a creature of spirit. These long, ethereal robes that what looked like come up to be a natural hood, you see is actually hair. A skull of dripping skin with fey-like ears and antlers and a never-ending wreath of spiritual fire. It just stares at you, watching.
The Watcher watches back, and for a moment he's silent, but then he speaks. He says, What have you done?"
The creature raises just a single arm, with gnarled and withered fingers, pointed and bony, and just points down the alleyway and away from the scene.
Trig turns in that direction. Does he see anything, or is it just that direction?
Well, you see the lights further down. You see the church, and you see the door at the front slightly open ajar.
When he looks back, is the creature still there?
No.
Right, well, he knows what he has to do, but first, he's going to orient himself based on the rubble. Does he sort of see the shape of the inn still, sort of where he was and, where?
You realize now you are in the middle of this crumbled old inn.
He wants to go dig for Astrid. So he rushes over to where he thinks she was and starts just pulling rubble.
You eventually find her. She is in the state she was when she was thrown against the wall. The mantle of the fireplace protected the body somewhat from the crushing force. But not far from where she was, you see a pool of blood. And wrapped up inside of the blood, you see the feathers of what appears to be a baby chick chirping.
Wow, fun. Trig, ignoring the chick for now.
Of course, that makes sense.
He reaches for Astrid and just his massive hand just envelops her shoulder, and he realizes, of course, she's dead. "You walk with them now." And then he just ensures that her eyes are closed and that she's not left in an undignified position. But he won't bring her at now. He'll let her sit there for a bit. They'll return to this. He will, however, bring the chick.
You know when something's freshly born and there's gloop and...
There's gloop. That's the scientific term for it. Gloop.
The gloop and goop and strings of blood coming off it as if it's just come out of an egg. You sort of pick up, and I'm sorry for the visceral nature of it, it's the sack, the yolk is still very much kind of peeling off of this baby chick, and you manage to kind of caress it in your hand, and it chirps at you.
There's a glint of recognition.
It recognizes you as well.
He'll just hold the chick in his open palm, and he sort of uses his hammer as a walking stick. He looks at Astrid, and he gives her a nod, and he turns to walk back towards the church.
You walk back towards the church. The night is still heavy about you. You have the little chick cradled in your hands. And that's when the flashes of lightning begin, Trig. Multiple flashes of lightning burst up from the ruin atop the hill. White lightning. Ominous, eerie, lifeless lightning.
He doesn't appreciate this. He's going to rush towards the church.
Just, are you going to do an Aragon? Are we bursting those doors wide open?
Yeah, dude. Just kicking them down.
The rest of you inside would be startled, to say the least, at the sound of a titanic crashing. Flashing has been coming in from the windows for the last few seconds, and the sound of whirling wind and storm is building. But it's the breaking of the doors, and I mean breaking in the literal sense. Whatever locks were on them are blasted open as the full force of a towering, nearly 3-meter tall creature breaches through. Selena stands immediately. She whirls her right hand above her head, and she pulls a string of heat from the air, and she holds it there.
Lysander gets up as well, swinging around with his staff, ready.
Brianna, much less cool, just sort of half falls against one of the pews she was leaning against.
Oh,
and
no!
then, just tumbles.
No, take them, not me. Trig, having burst through these doors, holding this freshly born chick. He looks to Lysander first of all, and then his gaze sort of it darts between the rest of the people in the room. We have to go. He's going to turn back.
Selena, you see that this power crackles between her fingers, and this whole aura around her of just twisting and shimmering air settles. I don't know many abominations that can speak.
I'm just gonna do a roll for myself, a cunning check.
13. You
That's
succeed.
enough. Okay, so Lysander will just run towards Trig and like embrace his big belly as much as he can, and just go, "Watcher." I'm basically rolling for whether or not he will say Trig.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
That's good.
I like that.
Yeah, that's great.
Lysander's practically teary at this point, just like, I'm sorry, I ran, Trig. I thought you were done.
He says Trig that time.
That's fine.
Go where? Shouldn't you have a seat first, maybe? Rihanna looks up at Trig, and she kind of squints at him, like, trying to figure out what exactly is standing before her.
Or this trig that you just heard
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Right. Well, hugs aren't really a thing in troll culture. So moving, he moves his chick holding hand. And he sort of just puts this creature on top of Lysander's head.
This is the strangest sight for you, Rihanna, because you think you're looking at a killing machine that's just procured a baby bird and just placed it on top of a changeling's head.
And then that hand still like slick with the gloop, as you so aptly put it. Then he looks at Rihanna. Are you coming too?
Coming where?
And then he points with that hammer out the door at the hill.
I suppose I could. I mean, I just got here.
Rihanna, says Selena as she looks up to you.
Yeah?
Go for me. Bartolom, stay here. Rihanna, this is your opportunity.
Are you sure?
Do it.
I'm ready, she says with a nod, and kind of like straightens her robe a bit.
Bartolom rushes over to you. He takes from his pocket the sunstone, which Trig and Lysander have seen a few times now, and he presses it into your hand, this hexagonal stone with this simple rune on it, imbued with the power of a fire spirit. Take it.
I clasp it in both hands, and then Rihanna puts it in the pocket of her robe, and she gives Bartolom a quick hug. Thank you.
Remember, you've got to come back, okay? You have to come back.
I will come back. I always do.
Best of luck. And he takes a step back and goes to Selena's side.
Trig is going to turn towards the door and essentially just start walking off, but he'll stop. He'll freeze for a moment, turn back towards the people in the back of the church. The abomination is dead. It killed a woman this night. You are a church. You should manage that.
Father Agathos stands up. Thou will see it done, even if she... And he just trails off, doesn't say anything further.
Lysander at this point is kind of cradling baby Meliora, kind of holding it against him and like holding her up to his face and just nipping at his nose. It's just cute little moment.
Selena comes forward, just takes a step, and she puts her hand on your shoulder, and also her other hand comes out in a kind of gesture of receiving.
He's a little reluctant holding Meliora against his chest. But he will like eventually reach it out to her. Just be very careful with her.
Sanguines are very rare, but they're very loyal. She'll be here for you, and you have to come back as well.
And she's probably hungry, so could I suggest the priest?
I will find something for her to eat. Be safe, all of you.
A sanguine. That might just be the strangest night.
Trig is out in the rain at this point.
Rihanna kind of hurries herself out of the church, pulls her dark blue hood up over her, her, and she kind of starts rushing after Trig, a little hurriedly. I didn't quite catch your name.
He's a bit focused right now, so his first instinct is not to say Watcher. She might catch that his mouth forms into this. He's about to start T. Then he stops himself. He says, Watcher.
Watcher. Right. Well, I'm so sorry that your master died, she says sort of questioningly, but also with like a look in her eyes that's sort of like judging his response to that.
Like during this conversation, they're like, Trig is like half jogging. Like,
Yeah. She's jogging after him. She's like running after him. Yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna matter because Lysander's gonna come running up behind, like, trick, wait.
Brilliant.
Oh, great.
Brilliant.
Right. Well,
My goodness.
master is what you said, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously ogre, right?
Yeah,
Ogres have masters.
Yeah. Trig does not deign to answer that. He drops it. I mean, he might have answered, but then Lysander just fucked it up and
What odd circumstances for a small town like this. Well, in any case,
Sorry, lady. And he kind of holds her hand out to Rihanna. It's like, Trig, do we really want to be going towards that? I mean,
he keeps saying his name.
if the abomination's dead, shouldn't we just get out of here?
Suddenly, a dozen more flashes of lightning strike the ruined hilltop. You can make out the flickering of torches, perhaps a shadow of someone moving up there.
He stops and he just turns on the spot towards Lysander. Something is wrong here. We need to fix this, Lysander.
But it's not really our responsibility. We've done enough.
but with everything you lost, wouldn't it be a shame to let it go now? I mean, whatever is up there, it could be the cause for all of this.
Who are you again?
Oh, right. My name's Rihanna. I'm an apprentice of Master Selena, but I am actually incredibly skilled at what I do. So.
And she gives off this kind of nervous flightiness, as if like she's touching ground with the reality of fieldwork for the very first time.
Yeah.
When she says she's incredibly skilled, it seems more like she's trying to convince herself than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you're very skilled, very indeed. But Astrid was pretty skilled, and she's in a pile of rubble.
Right. Which means we should.
And you want to go towards that, and he points towards the creepy
Speaking
hill.
of that, Trig is walking again.
Yeah. Are we going west? Are you going towards the bridge, or are you just crossing the river? Like,
I mean, how wide is this river? How deep is it?
I would say it's going to be a trouble for those guys. So if you have that in mind, you'd probably take the bridge.
Yeah, I think he would have initially headed straight west, but he would have frozen. He would have been reluctant to cross the ruin again of the inn, and then remembering that he had some puny humies following him, he would have just started jogging towards the bridge.
Well, might we at least see what is up there?
There is something else we could do.
Right?
So in the inn, I killed an old lady, and I think she was one of those cultists, but she had like a dark robe. You could put that on. He pointed to Rihanna, and you could go check it out.
You're sending me on my own.
This is you're so
Why?
skilled. You just said you were so skilled.
Well, you're so skilled, and we'll be nearby.
Yeah. No, I mean Trig isn't really following the logic here. He's. I assume they're by the bridge at this point.
At this point, you've crossed the bridge over the River Velama, which comes through this small village, and you're going past this farrier and smith to your right. And you're breaking out into more of the countryside elements of this region and the forest ahead of you that breaks up the space between you and the ruin atop the hill.
I mean, Lysander's still following after, but he's constantly protesting. Trick, we barely came out of the inn.
Trig largely ignores the protest. There's the lightning is still happening, yeah?
The lightning is slowing down a little bit. The actual strikes themselves seem to last and stay visible for much longer. Something is becoming less chaotic and more controlled.
You may turn back now, Lysander, but I will not.
But Trick, we don't have Astrid, and I don't have Meliora, and we have kind of gestures to
Very
Rihanna.
skilled.
Whatever this is.
Every single time he's addressed as Trig now. So
This is a
it's
high
fine.
pressure situation.
It's fine. The cat is out of the proverbial bag, as it were, and no amount of lying is going to get it back in.
I'm sure she'll be fine. She looks skilled enough.
Right.
And you are breaking through this forest line at this point, coming through to the foot of this large man-made hill. And from here, it seems a good jaunt up to the peak, where you see the torch-lit ruin and those tendrils of lightning connecting with the sky.
Well, all right. Just wait a minute before we leave the cover of the forest, at least. Do we have a plan?
Do we see anything on this hill? Like, do we see people? Do we see?
It's not seeing that's the problem. It's the hearing. A chorus of chants, just repeated over and over again.
Now, we are at the edge of a forest about to go into battle. Presumably.
Maybe.
Can Lysander look around and find some stuff to make some quick war paint?
I would say so, but I'm going to say in this light and in this rain, you're going to suffer a -2 penalty to this alchemy check.
Mud.
But you're not wrong. Rihanna is right on point. It's mud at this point. You're looking at taking clay from the earth and mixing it with some maybe like salts, some phosphates
Maybe
you have.
it might be some like nettles or herbs or something.
Yeah, I'm running nettles across my face.
It's war paint. It's meant to make you stronger, okay?
Yeah.
It's power nettle. All right.
The pain in your face helps you ignore the pain in the rest of your body.
The esoteric ways of the ancient man.
That is very good success.
That is a success. You rolled a 3. That's very low. Very good. So is that an adept alchemy?
That's novice, so I can actually make 4 doses of those. He'll like hold out the pestle. Is that the mortar? I don't remember.
Yeah,
The little...
mortar and pestle. I always imagine the pestle's the pumping bit.
Oh yeah. So the mortar. He holds that out with like a bit of this, and he'll take like 2 fingers and like scoop up a little bit and like just do like like the football player, the war paint.
Yeah.
And he holds it up towards Trig. It'll give a slight edge.
Trig is rather distracted by his his determination to get up there, but he turns towards Lysander, and his alchemy's never failed him before. Never, not once. So he grabs like a handful of this mush, and he just sort of smears it across his face.
And like he holds the scoop out to Rihanna as well. It's probably a little grub that's moving around in it.
Ew.
And Lysander just kind of nods. Trust me.
Okay.
Draw lightning in your forehead.
Yeah.
To go with those glasses. We've got Lady Potter.
She just does like a single stripe across the cheeks. Hesitantly.
You feel it more than the other two do. You realize there's no magic in what's happening. There is a literal chemical reaction. As the very viscous substance hits your skin, it's that tantalizing kind of tingling sensation. Mm-hmm. You realize you have just drugged yourself.
Nice.
You guys that apply it, so I imagine all 3 of you, and you have 1 more to spare, Lysander. I imagine, you guys can choose to add a +1 to either your quick or your strong during the rest of the scene.
Fantastic. Hey, do I recognize, or this chanting that we hear coming from the hilltop, do I recognize anything about it?
What you can hear is ancient Symbaroum. Mm-hmm. So unless you have the maximum rank unlocked in the Lawemaster skill, you can't understand it.
Does it sound like multiple voices?
It does. It sounds like at least more than 2.
He kind of gestures to Rihanna again. Can you fight? Are you...
Of course I can fight. Yeah. I'll be okay.
Do you have a sword or something?
She points to the staff that's sort of like slung over her shoulder, and she takes it off.
Oh. Lysander kind of smiles. He has one too.
Kindred spirit.
Oh, what's on yours?
Oh, lovely, lovely.
I don't really use it the way that you did, though.
Ooh, and he'll put a hand on Trig again and be like, I hit the priest in the face.
Good.
Nice. All right. So we go up as quiet as we can up the hill, and then you trample them, and I hit them with the staff, and she does whatever she does.
I think so. Should we maybe not try and see what they're doing first?
No. the old lady in the inn was doing ritual, and monster came. Very bad.
All right.
I'm going to ask everyone to roll discreet.
Oh no.
And I need at least one success from all three of you to at least... Because there's a lot going on, right? I'm not going to add any penalties. I just want 3 tests, 1 success for you guys to get...
Come on. No! We all rolled 11.
Okay,
What?
so you all rolled an 11.
It's not bad. It's thundering. It's really loud outside.
So you climb up the hill. You take the path, you use the steps. It's a man-made thing, you know. It's not built to be difficult to scale. It's kind of like the things used to put watchtowers on top of.
Grassy hill, but it's sort of... The angles are a bit too rigid to be naturally occurring.
Can we call it a knoll?
A knoll. What a great term. A knoll. Yes, that's exactly what it is. You guys take a little longer than intended to get to the top. There's a few times when the chanting stops and you hear a distinct voice calling out, "Keep going! Finish the ritual!" And then they get chanting again. So they know you're out there. They have heard that people are coming. And the lightning has all but stopped at this point. You guys burst up to the top to see torch fires burning, lit very recently around this ruin. What appears to be a stone diadem in the middle of the ruin. At the back there is a stone tower that goes up. In the diadem is an altar with 4 figures stood around it with their hands raised high. One of the most prominent figures, clearly this cult leader, is standing with what appears to be glass disc in his hands with a golden rimmed edge around it. He is holding it high and he is chanting the hardest. And in the middle of the circle they have created, this conclave, you see a young woman's body lying on a stone altar. She's pale with dark hair, eyes closed, motionless.
I think Lysander will do the... Assuming they're still in like a light charge, he'll place himself aside Trig as they approach.
You guys are basically bursting into the scene.
Trig will actually summon his magic again. Go for a Bloodbrier's binding.
Rihanna is actually a little more behind, either hiding behind Trig as they burst in, or like sets herself behind a stone pillar of some kind.
Absolutely. You get some cover, you make sure that you're not the first one seen. The chanting stops. The heads turn towards you. Daggers and blades are drawn. At the top of the initiative, Lysander.
All wet and muddy, he's just gonna run straight for the guy with the weird disc. Run up to him, and I'm gonna try and disarm him.
If you run for the guy with the disc, you will suffer 2 free attacks against you as you rush past the cultist closest to you and the one standing to his right of the altar. The cultist with the disc is the furthest away from you.
If I get interrupted or hit, do I get interrupted by the charge, or do I just take damage?
No, you just suffer whatever damages you would.
I think I can take it. I have 15 quick on this one.
Okay,
I'm gonna do
all
it.
right. Can you go ahead and make me 2 defensive tests? And those tests come with no modifiers. There's no positive, no negatives. Ooh, you rolled a 15 exactly. That is a perfect success. And you rolled an 8. The second one is success.
Nice.
That war paint is just speaking wisdom right now. I'm loving this.
So yeah, he just runs. There's like people reaching out for him, but he like swoops aside, moves past them, and heads straight for the guy. And disarm.
That would be an accurate test, modified by his strength. is not actually very strong, so you would get a +3 towards it.
That is a fail.
You rolled very high on the dice.
Yeah.
Obviously you got to whip your staff.
Yeah, he's just trying to hit this damn thing out of his hands. Whatever it is.
He actually kind of recoils away from you and dodges it and just simply calls out the words, "Protect me!" All right.
That's it for me.
You've done everything you can. Rihanna, you're behind a pillar right now? Mm-hmm. Peering around the edge.
I want to see if I can mind throw that.
Ooh. Yeah, you can try and mind throw that away.
Okay. I actually want to whack the cultist up the head with it. Yeah, if I can.
Okay, can you go ahead then, please, and make me... And now, is it a resolute versus resolute check?
Yes, a resolute versus quick.
Let's say you get a +5. He's got a quick of 5.
Damn, okay.
That is a wonderful success. So, roll me for damage. It's a D8.
Nice.
Oh,
6 damage.
6 points
Wow.
of
Quite
damage.
nice.
He is cracked across the head. Now, describe to me how this would look to the rest of us standing in the circle.
Rihanna would just, she would peek from behind the pillar, and then as soon as her eyes land on the golden disc, she reaches out for it, and sort of almost with a pull of her hand in the air, she just, slams her fist down, focusing on the disc. And then throws her arm out. And there's not a lot of magical effect, but it's more like sparks and shimmers, I imagine.
He has a toughness threshold of 4. You did 6 points of damage. I'm going to ask you, would you like him to suffer a free attack from Lysander, who's next to him? Or would you like him to be knocked down onto the ground?
Knockdown sounds good. Yeah, let's do knockdown.
Very nice. You don't move?
Now I'm gonna just scooch behind the pillar again.
Trig, you are up.
Well, Trig is single-minded in his determination. And in much the same way as Lysander, he's going to rush for Mr. Bad Guy, the main guy. Try to stomp his face.
You pass by this poor young woman laying on this stone altar and carouse around with your hammer in hand. Go ahead, please. Make an attack. You're not only getting... My goodness, there's some numbers here. You get advantage anyway because he's on the ground, and you are opposite.
This is the thing, though. I can't actually do that because my Warhammer is unwieldy. I cannot move and attack on the same turn.
Oh, so you're going to get into position. Thank you for your honesty. I was about to let you crack
He is
butts
going
and chew
to get
ass.
into position, and instead of using his hammer, he's going to take a page from Rihanna's book and use some storm arrows instead.
Ah, okay.
Yes, so the storm arrow's in action. I'm going to move over there, and as he's moving, he's like his hand reaches out for stones and stuff in the grass that he just brings with him into the fray.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a resolute. That
Good.
is a success.
Good.
It definitely
Wow.
works. And the stones just kind of whirl around you, very Avatar style.
And with that, I get one attack.
It's a free action. So can you roll me a d6? And who are you targeting? There are still 3 other cultists standing
Yes,
around.
but I am targeting the main guy.
The main guy. Okay. So you deal 3 points of damage in total. I will tell you now, that is enough for a point of damage. He has 2 armor. That is enough for some harm to get through. And you just hear a rib crack as one of these stones just powers up. It kind of vibrates in the air above Trig and then shoots forward at like breakneck speed and just bounces off of his chest.
Nice.
Okay then, so moving on to the enemy's turns then. The furthest cultist from all of you is going to run around the altar and make its way towards Lysander. Now, Trig, this does qualify you for a free attack with a +1.
Good lord.
You swing your hammer successfully and you strike the man as he's running past you. You clip him more than actually, fully squarely hit him.
In an absolute Hail Mary, the hammer does not immediately smash this man to bits.
Yeah, you clipped him with the handle maybe, with the shaft.
I am gonna use my free long weapon attack against this one when he comes into
You can
range.
go ahead and make your free attack as he comes into range.
Any modifier?
+1.
+1. Nope.
Nope.
That is a 19.
Yeah, you failed, and he ducks your attack. But as he ducks the attack and comes to your side, he's going to make a slashing motion with his sword. A couple of them, actually, as he makes some cuts for you. Can you please go ahead and defend yourself with no modifiers?
Oof, that is just enough. 14.
14 is enough. So a couple of swords swing at you. You deftly knock a few of them away, and you kind of have a bit of a parry, a duel of the fates with him.
Absolutely. Lysander's doing his swishy Jedi movements. Yeah.
Well, the next cultist is going to rush in. Actually, before this cultist rushes in, he's going to look around, and we're going to say this will be his action to do so because he's not sure everyone is here. Rihanna, can you please make a discreet check? -3.
Oh.
Yes. Yes!
Oh, that is a natural one.
Nice.
Rihanna, you look around. You see, it's almost like this Nazgul-like appearance of this hooded, shaded figure. You sneak behind the pillar, and then he's distracted by the sound of his master in agony, and he uses the rest of his turn to rush up there. You are now effectively surrounded, Trig, as the cultists have centered in on you. Lysander, the final of these cult followers, is going to rush in behind you, and he's going to make a very deft and quick stab at your back. I need you to defend yourself, please. There are no modifiers to this defense.
No problem. It was apparently a problem.
You successfully mitigate every point of the 4 damage. As the sword swings in for you, it chips your staff. He takes a step back, and he tries to clouch you across the face with his left fist.
Oh, what a bastard.
And you take it to the head, but you feel the war paint tingle.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, so the final person to act for the enemies is this head cultist, this leader. He is going to make a quick test to see if he can stand back up on his feet without costing his whole action. Oh, he rolls a 9. He does not succeed. He goes to stand, but he stands on the hem of his robe and pulls himself back down again.
I mean, it's very muddy and rainy.
Instead, he just decides from that position, because he's not going to make a melee attack. So from that position, he's just going to slam his hands together, and there's going to be a crackling of, like, I guess, aerothurgy, wind and lightning that moves across his fingers. And then he releases the hands again. Trig, I would like you to make a resolute test. No modifiers.
Whew, you have the best resolute.
Ooh.
Nice. Fine.
You succeed as this crackling electricity moves over your body. It pours down into your throat, into your eyes, and you suddenly feel this overwhelming power to be weak and feeble. And then you start to feel your willpower, your sense of devotion to your own cause, your own anger, your own ferocity. And you almost puke it back out if you could.
Scream it back in his face.
Lysander, at the top of round 2, it does return to you.
Yes. Lysander's gonna take his staff and do like some cool spinny, like they're very cool moves, but ultimately quite useless. And he's just gonna call out that I killed the bitch in the inn, and I'm gonna go full defense.
Nice.
Don't call Astrid that.
Lysander is using his full turn to go defensive. Rihanna, you are behind that stone pillar, a few meters away from the main conflict.
Rihanna stomps her foot on the ground and sort of with an almost pulling motion, she pulls some like, slabs of dirt that form into this sort of ball that begins to almost become like a lava-like substance. And I'm gonna toss that at one of the cultists, probably the one closest to me.
Yes, so the one that stood with Lysander, he's just a little away from Lysander.
Yeah. And I cast a Brimstone Cascade and I take out Corruption.
Is that against his quick?
Yes, Resolute Quick.
Go make me a resolute test with a +1. Really hard to fail this.
No, I failed
But
it.
you did. Is there anything you want to use? Do you want to use anything?
No, I still do a D6.
Oh, you still do a D6 with Brimstone Cascade. Okay.
1. It's better than
you
nothing.
and this game, Kim. Jesus.
I know.
From your hand forms this fire. You propel it forward, and just a few sparks come out of your fingers as the tonic, the mixture of heat and earth, separates on you, and you lose control in your nervousness. And it doesn't even reach the man. It just creates a flash of light, actually showing the man now where you actually are.
Yeah.
Ooh, so skilled.
Can I use my movement to do something else?
You could try and do something if you wanted. You could use something. You can move. You can draw or switch weapons.
You know what? I'm just going to hope that maybe I'll have him a bit confused by moving like behind the pillar to some other place in the ruins.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this. If there's another vigilant check to see you, perhaps I'll give you a bonus for moving.
Right.
But you do just stride behind another pillar. Maybe this one's the archway of the ruin.
Yeah.
You're behind the archway. Trig, it comes around to you. You're doing very well. You are a bit surrounded, though, to say the least. Though one of your enemies is still kneeling in a kind of prone-like position.
First thing that happens, free action, another pebble.
Another pebble. Who's it going for?
It's going for Mr. Prone.
You are literally stoning the witch.
It is going for Mr. Prone. We are stoning this witch. Let's go.
You do 6 points of damage to him. He is pelted, crushed, and smashed into by this levitating stone that whips around him.
That's the free action.
That's just a free action.
For the sake of finishing this, the threat of what's happening, the hammer is going to come down on him as well.
Really don't like this guy.
There's 2 big hits with this rock that's just pummeling him, and just as if to add insult to injury, Trig hefts the hammer and he's going to bring it down on him.
I am not even going to do this man the indignity of reading out the damage dice on that. I'm just going to say, as you lift your hammer, he gets to say one thing before you describe his demise, okay? He holds up his hand with the drawing of power at his fingertips and says, You're too late. Far too late.
Trig has raised his hammer, and he's holding it upside down, with the head of the hammer down. And he, again, with the abomination, he just brings it down on his head. And he clips that arm as well, that charging this power. He just folds the arm into this man's chest and just annihilates his entire torso.
Because it's about to be the cultist's turn, there is no way with their master dead that they're sticking around. Lysander, you cannot do free attacks right now because you are actively defending, so you would not be able to catch up with those that take flight. Mm-hmm. One will run in a manner that will not receive a free attack, but the other 2, one will run past you, Trig, and another will run past Rihanna. Do either of you make free attacks to stop them?
For sure.
Yes.
Okay. Can I ask you both, please, to make attacks with a +1?
Can it be a magical attack, or can it only be...
I'm afraid not. It can only be with your staff. But you do get a +1.
Okay, well, I can always try. Nope.
I'm afraid it's a failure from you, Rihanna.
Have you rigged your dice to always get 19 or something?
It's just my dice. I only roll high.
Let me pose this to you then, Trig. You get to kill another one of the cultists as they're running past. And I would like to know, as you see this man with his hood up bolt past you towards another one of the archways to the ruin, into the dark abyss.
Trig is going to he lifts the hammer out of the viscera of the man he's just crushed. As he sees the guys making a bit of distance, he swings it all the way from the very end of the haft, like a baseball bat, just straight into the side of the man's head.
You see him twirl over, top over end, goes flying through the archway he ended for. You hear a deathly crack and the final scream of a man rolling down the side of the hill.
Home run.
Rihanna, the man that was running past you sees you. He thrusts his hand into you, knocking you back into the stonework, and then tears off down the hill.